Hi everyone. Just posted a video from the outside of my house. The sun's was pretty nice today, but it's about to go down. So I wanted to post a video before it goes down to talk about transition words and phrases. Now, transition words are something we use every day. There's hundreds and hundreds of words that you can use to bring two ideas together, and that's what transitions words do. A transition is changing something from one thing to another. This is a transition. Now, there's transitional phrases, which a phrase is a group of words. Just a group of words. So let's be more specific. What are transitional words? Well, transitional words bring ideas together in your writing. And while you're talking, but mostly in your writing. Transition words will help the reader follow along when reading what you wrote, as well as make the words follow nicer, or flow nicer, sorry, is what I should say. They'll flow nicer. What does that look like? Well, let's talk about it. Here's a sentence that I wrote without a transitional word. It says, I went to the store. I bought milk. Now, that kind of sounds a little bit like a robot. I went to the store. I bought milk. So it doesn't flow very nicely. So what happens when we add transitional words to that? Here's what it sounds like. I went to the store and I bought milk. It just flows a lot nicer, right? It sounds smoother. Okay, let's try another one. They ran home. They were still late. Kind of sounds like broken up, right? Like a caveman, like, I hunt berries. I make fire. Me Tarzan, you Jane. So let's add a transitional word into that and make it sound smoother. All right, by adding transitional word right there, it comes out to they ran home, but they were still late. They ran home, but they were still late. Sounds a lot smoother, right? Okay, so by adding transitional words in the middle of the two ideas, so by adding transitional words in the middle of the two ideas, you sound smooth. It sounds smoother when read. Now, transitional phrases do the same thing. There's just more words in between, because remember we said transitional phrases were just more words. A transitional word is one word. Transitional phrases is more than one word. All right, so let's look at some examples of transitional words and phrases. So here's another example, but it's using phrases instead of just one word. So there's more than one word in the transition. All right, so I went to bed early. I felt rested. I went to bed early. I felt rested. It sounds broken up, right? But if we add a transitional phrase, it says, I went to bed early. The next day, I felt rested. So I went to bed early. The next day, I felt rested. It's a lot smoother that way, okay? So there are many, many transitional words and phrases that we can use, like I said before, and each of them do different things. Some help with time. Some help with saying what location you're in. Let's give you some examples of that. Here's one about time. So transitional words and phrases about time, like later, before, during, simultaneously, which is at the same time. Simultaneously, this is happening when another thing is happening. Or a phrase would be in a little while. Is a phrase that's transitional about time. All right, here's some more examples that help us with adding information. Furthermore, also, as well as, besides, in addition, or if you want to help show order, you can do following, previously, first, second, third, or before. These are all words that you can use in your writing to build a transition in between, and they each do different things. So it's up to you which transitional word you want to use and what you're trying to say as the writer. Let's give some more examples of different ways we can show these. So if you want to compare and contrast two things in your writing, or see the difference between two things, you could say unlike, whereas, similarly, and those are obviously two of the same thing, right? Just like, or same as. In contrast, which means it's different. In contrast between, let's say this is a flower, a bush, that's a fruit tree. In contrast, they're a plant, but they're also different from each other. And you could say that. All right, so lastly, if you want to show evidence, you could say, for example, because, due to, for this reason. We use evidence a lot in our writing and in class, so this is actually a great one to use. So those were transition words and phrases. I hope you've learned something. What I'd like you to do now is look up online or ask your parents, is there any other transitional words that you can think of? I want you to come up with 5 of them, 5 words, and I want you to put those 5 words into sentences. And then we'll see what we can do from there. I'll be in touch with you and look forward to hearing from you and those 5 transitional words and sentences. Thank you. Bye.